Hey there lads and ladies, it is Petrifying Pumpkins here, and I am back for you today with a juicy little Firewall Zero Hour news update. So I got a couple of things on the agenda I want to talk about. I think I'll start with Adam Orth's comments over on Reddit. So for those of you who don't know, Adam Orth was the creative lead at First Contact Entertainment until just recently when he left the studio to move on to work on other things. So he left some comments over on Reddit where he went into a bit of detail about the AI and co-op. Now all along I thought co-op was going to be the exact same as PvP, except with AI, bots and whatnot. I assumed that you wouldn't need a full team of people and that bots would be your teammates and stuff like that. But the truth, it turns out, is that co-op is actually like the training missions, except you can play with your friends on your team. You cannot play the contracts mode, which is where you're hacking the laptop. You're playing the training mode only, okay? And as well as that, you cannot have bots as teammates. You can only kill bots, have bots as the enemy. So I know that's disappointed some people, but that's not to say that the training missions won't still be good fun, you know? So I'm not gonna jump the gun just yet. And I will hop on over now to the UploadVR.com impressions of Firewall, which just went live. So according to UploadVR.com, they had a 4-hour preview event with the final build of the game. They got to play training missions, they played co-op, they played PvP, they had all the unlocks, they were given 1 million cryptocurrency, so, and all the perks, all that shit, so they could just explore every little facet of the game. And let me tell you that overall the impressions are good. There are some details, for example, co-op and training modes both offer far less rewards, so there's far less XP and crypto payments if you play those modes, because technically they're both just training modes. And for the first time ever, they got to try out the DualShock 4 method of controlling the game. Now he does say that the DualShock 4 method is very similar to the Farpoint way, which we already knew, but interestingly he says that he much prefers the aim controller, simply because he felt like moving your hands around like that felt a bit silly, and that with the aim controller, much more natural. I think we can all agree on that. Well, not everyone, but I can imagine you can get used to it with just the DualShock, you know? It'll take a bit of time, but you're like, that's doable, probably, you know? I don't have to worry about that. I've got the aim controller because I want to have a good time. But don't be put off if you don't have an aim controller. If you just have the DualShock 4 controller, that'll be fine. Don't worry, Adam Orth, that's his favorite way to play. So they had the full selection of all 9 maps to play with as well, and he talks a little bit about the maps that he's played. So for example, he says that the shoot house map is really small, that's filled with small rooms and stuff like that. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum is the warehouse map, which is apparently huge. It has multiple floors and stuff like that. And then he also mentions the district in the Middle East part of the world. And he doesn't specifically say if it's a good or a bad map, but the fact that he's highlighting this, I suspect, means that it's good. And while I say that, that just reminds me that Adam Orth also commented over on Reddit that his favorite map by far is District. So that was already looking like one of my favorite maps, that one and The Office, but now I think District is going to be a fan favorite. I hope so anyway. It looks like it has the potential. Although this guy here says his favorite map was The Office. And when he's describing this, he describes like how it's sleek Silicon Valley style, you know, social media office with, what else do you say here? Multiple stairwells, multiple cubicles, stuff like that. So that map is going to be fun. So I'm glad to hear that my 2 favorite maps, or my initial favorite maps I should say, because I haven't actually played them myself, but that these are being called out by both Adam Orth and this author here, David Jagneau, I think his name is, as being their favorites. So that's pretty cool. And I'll just read this quote here because this, you know, this is one of those get hype fucking quotes, you know. So he says here, every map has a unique personality all its own, and I can vividly remember exciting moments and tense firefights from every single one over the course of my entire demo. Get hype. You know, there's nothing else to be said about that. Then just get fucking hype, get moist, get your fucking towels out, because we're going to be sopping wet in a second. So then he goes on to talk about something that actually is pretty interesting here that I didn't know myself. He talks about the differences between the attacking team and the defending team. Now, I assumed that if you're playing as the attacking team, once you kill all 4 defenders, you have it won. But that's not true. If you're an attacker, even if you kill all 4 defenders, you have to find the firewall, you have to hack the firewall, and you have to get the information from the laptop after doing that. So he gives an example here of how they killed all his team were dead, they were spectating using the security cameras around the map, but the attacking team never hacked the firewall, so they weren't able to get access to the laptop, and the time ran out and they lost. So even though the defending team died, they still won in that instance, and he says how the victory was extra sweet that way. So that's very interesting. Though he does single out a concern here about balance. He says that in his playtime, the attacking team didn't win a single match. So, but then he goes on to say that that could come with time, that the attacking team, you know, they didn't know the layouts of the maps, they didn't know the best items and stuff like that to use. And you can see how it would be easier to be a defender at first, before you know map layouts, all that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that that's the reason. Just not enough map knowledge, not enough knowledge of the game in general, its systems, its weapons, the best perks to be using. Because, you know, you want to be using different operators, whether you're on the attacking team or the defending team, because some of them are kind of built as more defenders and some of them are more offensive, you know. So he talks a bit more about customization, and there's some interesting stuff here and like important stuff, so I will just quote this from UploadVR. He says there is a bit more complexity to it too. For example, if you unlock a red dot sight and purchase it, then you can equip that red dot sight on any gun that supports it. So you don't have to buy a red dot sight for the Kruger rifle and then unlock a different one for the Spaz shotgun or the Toro shotgun or whatever. Once you unlock that red dot sight, it will go on any weapon that supports the red dot sight. And he says the same is true for like skins. You unlock a weapon skin, that skin applies to whatever weapon you want it to. You don't have to keep unlocking the same pattern for different guns. And then he talks about the perks. So he does say that the initial perk is specific to the characters. Now we knew that already. But then he goes into the secondary perk that we unlock, the customizable perk. So he says that there is a pool of perks that you can choose from, that you can apply as the second perk, as long as your character doesn't already have that perk. So that makes me think that all the perks, all the starter perks will be in this pool. Who knows if it's just them perks or if there's other bonus perks too that we unlock or something like that, I don't know. But that's very interesting to see written down. So his closing thoughts are just very positive. He says there's tons of map variety, tons of customization. What else is he saying? Loads of upgrade options, lots of contractors, lots of guns. The core gameplay is tactical and thrilling, he says. So that's all you can hope for, really. I know there's not going to be any reviews out until the game has actually launched. First Contact put a blog post up about this yesterday. It wouldn't be fair to hand out review copies of the game before launch, because the lobbies wouldn't be populated. You'd be waiting ages in matchmaking and stuff like that. It wouldn't be an accurate representation of what the game will actually be like when it launches. But this here is a nice compromise, you know, a 4-hour preview event with everything unlocked. So they got entire access to that whole game for 4 hours and their impressions are positive. Now I know this was an enclosed environment, so they didn't have to deal with lag probably and stuff like that, and netcode maybe, I don't know. So providing that the game actually launches smoothly, let's just imagine there's no errors, there's no crashing, the servers are up, everything goes well, then nothing can stop this game from getting good marks, I think. Judging by what he said here in this hands-on preview, he's previewed the entire game, 4 hours. He's come away impressed. His one concern is about balance, but then it sounds like that can be counteracted by just getting good, scrub, you know? So I'm going to end the video there, lads and ladies. I want to know what you think. You go check. I'll have the link for this preview in the description below. Keep your eye out for more previews coming, because apparently he played with plenty of journalists. Hopefully the big guys were there too. Hopefully they'll have articles, hands-on impressions coming up. Fingers crossed. If you enjoy this video, all that stuff, then please consider doing all the usual stuff. Or maybe it's down here. Will it be down here? Maybe it'll be here or here. Who knows? Do the usual shite, please. Help me out. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay moist.